And joining us for this segment of Reaching Out is Handal Mustafa. He's the Board of Education Plasterer Supervisor. Handal, welcome to Reaching Out.
Thank you, Greg. Glad to be here.
Tell us, what does a Board of Ed, actually Department of Education now,
Yes.
supervisor of plasterers do on a daily basis?
Well, we schedule work to be done in school. We're regularly with my guys. I have 4 guys. I cover Bronx and Manhattan. And we work the same days the kids are in the building, so it's not easy to do with our type of work with the kids in the building. So it takes a lot of planning and scheduling.
Tell us, what kind of plastering do you do? When I hear plastering, I think of just putting something, some stucco or something on the wall.
Yeah, people
I think
take
it's
it
a little
for
more.
granted.
I think it's a little more than that, right?
It's a little more than just scrape and spackle, which is what people prefer to think it is. But there's minor maintenance in these schools, and these schools are old, and then you got other leaks, plumbing, roofing, other assists from electricians, carpenters, making holes to run wiring, and so be it. And it's a lot of work that these buildings need. They're old and they're crumbling, but they're doing things in the right way. They're fixing the outside first, and we're taking care of the interior repairs. It's just tough to get the locations to do the work, but with a lot of planning and scheduling and getting things in advance notice, we're able to do our jobs.
I'm curious. How did you get interested in plastering? Where did you grow up, and what led you to this field?
I grew up in Flushing, Queens, all my life, born, raised. My father was a middle-class wholesale clothes salesman, and my mother raised us, 5 kids, and grew up, went to school, went to St. John's, 2 years, got 60 credits in St. John's. And I felt business management, which is what I majored in, wasn't going to do it for me. And I picked up a trade. And I worked on the outside with Joe Scally Sr. And then his son took over, Joe Scally Jr., for like 10 years on the outside working. So I knew how tough it was every day having to produce. And I took a civil service exam, and I haven't heard nothing. 3 years down the road, I got a letter from the Department of Education, or Board of Education at the time. I was about 29 years old at the time, and I thought it was some kind of 10-year reunion for high school, and I threw it in the garbage. And then later that night, I came home, and I saw the envelope in there, and I opened it up, and so it was, they called my list number from the plasterer's exam, and went for the interview. I was hired. Mr. Segretti, Luigi Segretti was my supervisor, or the supervisor at the time. He interviewed me. He liked what he heard. And I got hired in '93 as a plasterer. I worked 5 years with the same partner, Frank Lombardi. He taught me basically what I knew from the outside, and actual what plasterers do with the agency was a whole different type of repairs. I mean, they really worked. And I've learned the ropes, and graduated 5 years down the road to supervisor. Mr. Segretti retired, and I was hired to provisionally replace him. Civil service test came out. Took it, passed it. I was hired permanently, and that's where I stand right now.
So tell me, when you say you picked up a trade, did you go to school, or did somebody teach you?
Someone taught me.
Somebody taught you.
I was looking for a summer job in between classes, and I worked for a contractor who did all aspects of constructions, and majority was taping and plastering. And I picked up the trade there.
Okay.
But, to master it, when you just do that specific trade, and when I got to the board, I just did that specific duty, and you really grow and learn more. It was like on-the-job training.
Okay. Well, that's all the time we have for this segment of Reaching Out. My very special guest was Handal Mustafa, and I want to thank all of our guests for joining us on Reaching Out. And I want to also especially thank you for listening and watching on cable. Mustafa, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me, Greg.
Okay.
Always a pleasure.